Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing. Today we discuss a thrilling 2020 launch in stainless steel made in 15 pieces. This is the Moser Cie and MB&F Endeavour Cylindrical Tourbillon. So we have some elements of MB&F legacy machine and elements of Moser's Endeavour series, particularly Endeavour Tourbillon watches. A little contribution from Moser's Newhausen-based subsidiary, Precision Engineering, the escapement, the balance, and a marine chronometer-style cylindrical double overcoil hairspring. So the watch in steel is 42 millimeters in diameter, and as you may suspect, due to the enormous sapphire dome, 19.9 millimeters thick, 48 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, this is a watch that I have been holding more or less upside down for the benefit of the camera. Now, I'm going to throw it on the wrist, and I'm going to wear it out of the hand and onto the wrist. You can see it actually wears quite well, given its apparent size. Now, it's not going to fit underneath a sleeve, but you can see that from side to side, it's not super broad. Also, you can see on the underside that the case back is slightly curved and the lugs are sharply downturned. So my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference, so even a little bit smaller than my wrist. Taking a quick look at the strap, you can see large rectangular scale alligator leather, large rectangular and symmetrical scales, always indicative of a very expensive and high quality cut of the beast, matte finish, monotone stitch. We have a sheer cut and lacquered profile, and then on the underside we have black calf skin. You can see that there's no crimping, no gouging. Brand new Moser factory strap. We have a feature that is not universal on Moser watches, and that is a deployant clasp. Normally these come with pin buckles. This is an upscale edition, double folding. You can see it's made of steel, just like the watch itself, and then it has a twin trigger system, so you have to press both of those triggers to pop the clasp open. So that's how that works. Very secure. It gives you additional insurance against accidentally dropping your watch. That is the traditional advantage of a folding clasp. Remember, Moser's typically on pin buckles. So this is the Endeavour case. You can see it's wonderfully fluid. They're first machined and then hand finished. That's how Moser is able to get these incredibly deep polished hollows within the flanks of the lugs. And then we have these mirrored recesses, but we also have vertical satination on the case band, which is an unusual treatment, as case band satination is usually longitudinal. A polished crown with the Moser M. It is a push-down crown. The watch is 30 meters water-resistant, dress watch standard. You can see the bezel is concave all the way around, but it does swell. It is broader down at 6 o'clock as well as 12 o'clock. And I realized that I showed you 12 and then 6, but you can see at both 6 and 12, the bezel broadens. The whole thing has the air of a piece of molten metal that's been drawn out and flash frozen. The dial includes Moser's signature fumé or smoked fade, so you have a light metallic sunburst at center, getting much darker as you move towards the edge. Inclined at 40 degrees, we have a sapphire dial that actually has a little bit of luminescence, so it is a lumed watch, and a fairly well-lumed watch, albeit with a small dial, but you can read it clearly. Note the luminescence of the logo as well. And that dial in sapphire, you can see a series of bevel gears used to transfer the action of the movement to the angle of the time display, which features little leaf hands. You'll also note that that entire structure underneath the dial is beautifully finished and detailed as though it were a display case back itself. Now, cylindrical tourbillon. Back in the day of the marine chronometer, it was common to use cylindrical hairsprings with 2 overcoils, one at each end. This maximizes the 360-degree distribution of the mass of the hairspring, so that in any given orientation, the watch is going to keep exceptional time. It was true on marine chronometers. It is true now. And here we have a flying tourbillon, so there's no upper bridge to block your view, with that extraordinary precision engineering cylindrical hairspring that's made by Moser in-house through their subsidiary. You can see the lever and the escape wheel also made in-house by Moser, as is the balance. It's free sprung for durability. All adjustments are performed using the variable inertia bolts on the balance rim itself, and it beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it makes a full circuit each minute. Now you can see that the bridge for all of this is exquisitely well finished and is the best finished part of the movement, all on the dial side to appreciate it. The free sprung architecture also makes this a sturdier and more accurate watch to adjust. Flip it all over. You can see that the movement we've got right here, HMC 810, a bidirectional automatic winder with a magic lever style pawl-based bidirectional winding system, 3 days of power reserve. And you'll note that the rotor features 1, 2, 3 separate finishes. There's solarization atop the ball bearing at center. It uses hybrid ceramic bearings for greater efficiency and lower maintenance requirements. You'll also see a very modern touch. The underside of the flying tourbillon is supported by ceramic or hybrid ceramic bearings to reduce friction and give it a wider base of support than if it were just a pivot jewel. You can see double-crested Moser Côte de Genève, a golden chaton cup fixed by black polished screws holding the barrel arbor. All the screw heads here are polished. We have mostly machined but neat and handsome bevel, and then satination across some of the elements like the edge of the bridges and the underside of the tourbillon bridge. You can also see media blasting on the base plate and satination on most of the wheels. It is a good looking movement. 4 different dial colors were made of this model, each one a 15-piece limited edition. This one in cosmic green, perhaps the most contemporary and striking of the quad. That quartet, all appealing, but I am always going to be a green dial type of guy. You can be as well. Keep in mind this is 30 meters water resistant, so while very sporty for a dress watch, it is still a dress watch. But in every other regard, it uses the automatic winding system from the Moser sports watches with a steel case. So this is your everyday, borderline practical tourbillon. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.